This woman decided to adopt a parrot to cure her loneliness and spent many years in his company. When she was dying, and it was time for her to say her final goodbye, the bird reacted in a way that left many people speechless. Sometimes we are surrounded by people, and we still feel abandoned. Some people do not desire human companionship and prefer to alleviate their loneliness with the unwavering love of a pet. Cats and dogs are the most common choices, but some people would rather own fish, small reptiles, or birds. The protagonist of our story is indeed a lady who found companionship in a bird, a parrot that lived a bit longer than the average house pet. She lived in Lyon, France, in a small apartment of her own. She was getting older and had no husband or friends, and she knew that a pet would keep her company in her lonely house. The rules of her condo stated that she couldn't get a dog or a cat, so she decided to adopt a parrot. She had spoken to her landlord about the possibility of getting a bird, and he had agreed that a parrot would be less annoying than a mammal. Birds mostly stay in their cages and occasionally make noises that are less loud than barking. The woman agreed that this was the best option and began to do her research on parrots. She couldn't just go to any store because parrots are not commonly kept in pet shops. Eventually, after much research and joining communities to discuss the perks of being a parrot owner, she found the perfect companion. He was a special African gray parrot with ash-colored feathers who did not require a large amount of space. It was the perfect match for her, and yet she was still unsure. She feared that perhaps such a special bird would require too much care or would be too costly. However, she went back to visit the parrot several times and eventually warmed up to the idea of becoming his owner. The parrot liked her too. She named him Sinbad and took him home. From the first day on, Sinbad would be delighted every time she walked into his room. He would swing, dance, and talk to her. Soon enough, the lady realized that they were meant to be. The day that she brought Sinbad home was the day that she found out that the rest of her life was going to change. Finally, life wasn't just the same routine over and over again. She now had to take care of Sinbad, and he was a delight to be around. He would sing to her in the morning and repeat the funny phrases he picked up from the street. For all the noise he made, she almost felt like she had another human in the house. They would sit on the balcony while she sipped coffee or watched the sunset together. She made new friends through the parrot owners community and realized that this pretty bird was exactly what she had been looking for. Owning a pet was a big step for her. A cat or a dog would have been more challenging, but a parrot requires a special commitment. Parrots are incredibly intelligent animals and can live up to 50 years. The woman and her parrot soon became best friends and lived together for 25 years. Now 25 years is much longer than the typical age span of a dog or a cat. 25 years is a quarter of a century. At first, the lady was amazed at how well Sinbad had done over the years. She had feared that she might have to rehome him due to her old age, but eventually decided that the two of them would live together until their last breath. Her apartment just seemed all the brighter with Sinbad in it. She felt less lonely than ever before. When her children visited, they enjoyed his company as well. He was a friendly bird and loved all the attention he received when visitors came over. He would often show off the tricks he had learned from the woman to get praise and scratches on his head. Sinbad could sing songs, whistle several tunes, and even know his own name. Sinbad learned many words and tricks over the years and was able to communicate with humans. Some people said that parrots can only repeat back what their owners say, but she felt Sinbad was different. Aside from all the fun tricks he could do, she really felt like he was talking to her. They would always say good morning and good night to each other. She would talk to him about her problems, and he seemed to understand, even if his answers didn't always seem to make sense. As their bond grew stronger, so did their emotional attachment to one another. Parrots are some of the most emotionally intelligent creatures in the world, and the woman was absolutely convinced that Sinbad knew what she was saying. He was more than just a pet. He was her best friend. Slowly, as time went on, the woman got older and her health started to decline. She tried to live at home as long as she could, but her body was failing her quickly. One moment she felt healthy and strong, and the next she had to sit down and rest her tired joints. She knew she didn't have much longer, but she didn't want to believe it. After all, she still had to take care of Sinbad. She decided that she would just go see the doctor for a quick checkup. One visit turned into 2, 3, and 4, and before she knew it, she was also seeing specialists and visiting the hospital often. Sinbad was left alone for longer and longer hours. The lady always tried to book appointments in the middle of the day so that she could still say good morning and good night to her friend without much interruption to her schedule. The parrot, as we mentioned, was very intelligent. He knew that something was wrong, and he started to tell her that he loved her much more often. For a while, his thoughtfulness brought her a little light and energy, but it didn't last for long. Eventually, she was admitted to the hospital, where she learned that she didn't have much time left. The doctors made sure to tell her family to say their last goodbyes. Those final days were filled with tears, and brave plans were made about the funeral she wanted. It was during this time that the woman's daughter took Sinbad with her on a visit. In the hospital, the parrot seemed to realize the weight of the situation and stayed close to his owner the entire time. Even though he was normally very active and chatty, Sinbad was particularly quiet that day. Of course, no one had told him that he was going to the hospital or that his owner was unwell, but it seemed no one had needed to. Perhaps he had really understood when the woman had talked about her troubles at home, or perhaps he could simply sense the atmosphere in the room. Either way, it was clear that he knew. He remained next to his owner, hopping around on the bed, trying to check if she was all right. The woman's daughter asked her mother to say some last words to Sinbad to let him know that she would miss him.
Please say something to him. He needs to hear you say something to him. He needs to hear that I love you one last time.
Frail and tired, the dying woman mustered up the strength to say, "I love you," to her beloved parrot.
I love you.
As soon as these words were said, the parrot reacted in such a heartbreaking way that Sinbad seemed to become more alive. Just hearing the voice of his owner gave the bird hope. Unfortunately, that didn't last long. It was the woman's final goodbye to her beloved Sinbad. It may surprise many of you how much of an emotional connection birds can feel with their owners. In fact, science shows that parrots can feel depressed after going through a traumatic event like losing a loved one. There are even antidepressants available for birds like Sinbad. Sinbad was adopted by the woman's daughter, and although they haven't had as much time to bond like he did with his original owner, it seems things are going well. She has promised to take care of Sinbad until the end of his days, and together they can remember her mother and the special bond they all had.
Sinbad's so sad.
Thank you for watching. Do you have a pet that has changed your life? Or perhaps a story of companionship that is unique? Maybe someone you know has an unusual animal companion? Reach out and let us know in the comments section. We hope you enjoyed today's story. If so, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We upload daily content and heartwarming stories. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.